let's look ahead to Cleveland, starting with the defense, the Niners defense. Robert Saleh did a great job against the Panthers. You predicted that the Niners would give up, what, 17? I predict they'd give up 28. They gave up 9. It was very impressive. It was a bad offense they were facing, but what did Saleh do to shut down Carolina, and can he use some of those same principles to shut down Shedeur Sanders and the Browns?
You know, I think that the defensive players were a little bit more alert and aware of responsibilities, and their rally to the ball after it was thrown was better. They were more in tune with what they had to get done. And you're playing on the big stage. You're the only show on Monday Night Football, and they were mentally as well as physically ready to meet the challenge. And I think you look at what Bryce Young did the previous week against Atlanta when he threw for 450 something yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns or whatever. Prior to that, he was throwing for 185 yards a game.
Yeah.
So he had a one-off game the week before where he throws for 400 and something yards. That was more than he threw at 2 previous weeks added together. So now he also went back to being the normal quarterback who he was. And that also helped with the Niners. But then the Niners came out with an effort after seeing the tape of Atlanta where the Panthers went up and down the field on him, and McMillan had a career game as a rookie. Hey, it was a wake-up call for the Niners defense, and they responded.
So what do you think they need to do against Shedeur? He's not a prolific passer. I mean, we haven't seen much of him yet, but I think they're probably going to run the ball a lot, Cleveland.
Well, I think, the kid doesn't have much of a resume, obviously. I think he threw for 209 last week against the Raiders, 11 out of 20, something like that. So he's a 55, 58% passer. He does have some ability. He can extend the play. If you don't contain on him, he is going to get out of the pocket on you. Yeah. And he's going to make plays out of the pocket because, you're going to have to plaster the receivers and the tight end, Fannin, and those other guys, Judy. And they had that little kid, Sampson. Was his name Dylan Sampson? Who has got speed. Oh, that kid. And he had that 0-yard pass against the Raiders where he went 66 yards for the touchdown. And he ran through multiple players. His speed is phenomenal. So I think the key thing for the Niners is, they're not, quote unquote, going to be a sack factor. Although Shedeur does take some sacks when the ball should be coming out. But I think maybe his sense of being able to get the ball out more quickly is going to improve as he plays some. But they're going to have to be able to tackle. They're going to have to be able to wrap up and not just try to knock guys down with shoulders and shrugging, and they're going to have to grab cloth. And the other factor that's going to be, for me, that's going to be huge in this ball game is the weather and the conditions of the field. And when you get bad weather, you get cold weather, you get wet weather, tackling gets worse. People are not in position. They're reaching, they're lunging. They're not where they should be because the elements don't allow that. They're dressed like a mummy, and you got to change your cleats because if the field softens up, you need to have a longer cleat on your shoes. And so discipline and missed tackles are going to be huge this weekend.
Interesting. So I started this off by asking about Shedeur Sanders, but really, if this is 30 degrees and snowing, this could be a game where both quarterbacks throw 15 passes and hand the ball off 40 times. I asked Robert Saleh yesterday, what are you seeing from Shedeur, and what unique challenges does he present, and how's the offense different with him? And he was diplomatic. He's like, he's we only about a game and a half of film on him, but they're running back. Number 10, that's a good run. It's I didn't ask about the running back. So it seems to me that he thinks they're going to get a whole lot of Quinshon Judkins. Are the Niners prepared to stop him?
I really like that kid. He has got talent, and he can run between the tackles. He's 225 or 230. He's powerful. He's explosive. And then for the changeup, they got the little scat back, they can get him out on the perimeter and almost throw a 0 yard or a negative yard ball out there, put some receivers out in front of him and a lineman and give him a shot on a semi screen type of concept. And now the Niners have to tackle him in space. So you got one guy you're going to have to load up and be physical in the box against and be able to get hats on him and wrap him up. And then you got the scat back who's going to force you to be able to play in space. And so, yeah, I would be more concerned about the success of the Browns' run game than I would be worried about Shedeur lighting it up for 250, 275 yards. That ain't going to happen unless a Niner defensive back falls down and the kid has a free shot to throw him a football.